Okay, so as we said in previous lecture, in this video we're going to style and also transform banner button into 3D element. So I think it will be really interesting because you will be able to learn about some cool tricks and techniques using CSS. So let's get started. Select button, write banner btn. At first, assign to it some usual styles, define width, make it 350 pixels. Then set height as 100 pixels. Change background color. In this case, I'm going to use linear gradient. As a first color, insert here 16C, 3CF. As for second one, write 156469. So that's the way how our button is looking for now. It's really huge, but actually we need this. Let's go on and add some more styles. Get rid of default border and outline. Write border none. Then outline none. And then let's work on text. Change font family. In this case, let's use font called Slabo, 27 pixels. Serif, and increase font size, make it 35 pixels. Alright, next I'm going to make letters uppercase using text transform, uppercase. Also create some space between them using letter spacing with the value 4 pixels, and then change color, make it white. Okay, so as you see, step by step, our button is getting nicer. Next, I'm going to add shadow to text. Let's write text shadow and assign to it values 0, 10 pixels, 10 pixels again, and color black. And also change type of cursor, make it pointer. Alright, at this point with button styling we are done. It's time to move on and start making it 3D element. First of all, we need to create 3D environment for button, and for that we have to assign to its parent element property called perspective with a value 1000 pixels. As you see, at this time perspective property doesn't have any effect on element. Now we need to rotate button according to X and Z directions. So let's assign to it transform, and at first rotate it along X axis, insert here value 70 degrees. So you see button is rotated, but besides X direction we have to rotate it along Z axis as well. So write rotate Z and insert argument 30 degrees. Alright. So that's the position which we want button to have by default. Now we need to give button shape of cuboid. Actually, cuboid is like cube, but it has shape of rectangle. We are doing that in order to transform it into even more 3D element. I would like to note that this is going to be not quite simple stuff. We will use some advanced things from CSS. So I recommend to be more concentrated and focused on things that we're going to do. So we're going to achieve above mentioned using before and after pseudo elements. So let's select button with before pseudo element. Then leave content as empty. Define width as 100% and height as 15 pixels. In order to make element visible, let's assign to it background color and make it red for a while for better demonstration. Also, we need to define its position because otherwise height and width won't be applied to it. So write position absolute. So here is before pseudo element. We need to change its position and place it somewhere here in front of button. So let's set bottom and also right positions as 0. So as you see, element has changed its position, but that's not what we want eventually. We need to rotate it along X-axis by 90 degrees. So write transform, rotate X, and insert here 90 degrees. Alright, so as you can see, at this point, element is no longer visible. The reason is that it doesn't have its own 3D environment because it is a child element of button and it doesn't inherit 3D space from button wrapper. In order to achieve that, in CSS, we have property called transform style, which should have value preserve 3D, and we have to assign it to button. So write transform style with value preserve 3D. Okay, now element is displayed back, but we have here another problem. By default, origin of transform is center. In other words, you can imagine that x-axis goes in the center of element. In this case, we don't want it. We want to make origin of transform bottom. Actually, I know that this stuff is a little bit hard to understand, but that's the way how it works. If you have any trouble to understand it, it will be better to test those things on your own. So write transform origin and assign to it value bottom. Alright, so that's it, what we wanted to get. Step by step, we're getting shape of cuboid for bottom. Now let's change background color. Let's use colors from linear gradient combination. Copy the second one and paste it here. Alright, now it looks much better. So like front side, we need the same on the right side. We have to create it using after pseudo element. Actually, we're going to need same properties, so let's duplicate this entire code and then change before into after. First of all, let's change position. Instead of bottom, we need here top. So you see element ended up behind button. We need to rotate it according to y-axis with value minus 90 degrees. So write here rotate y minus 90 degrees. Now you can see where element has been ended up. At a glance it looks weird, but reason is that we need to change values of height and width. In case of after pseudo element, we need to switch values for height and width. For width we need 15 pixels and for height 100%. So now we are almost there. The only thing that we have to do is to change origin of transform. In this case, instead of bottom, we need to make origin right. Alright, so finally we got here needed shape. Last thing regarding its style is to change background color of after pseudo element. In this case, let's grab first color from linear gradient and assign it to after pseudo element. Okay, that's it about button. Now we need to make it working. I mean, we need to create hover effect. On hover, I'm going to rotate it along X and Z axis. So write banner btn with hover. Then we need transform, rotate X with the value 30 degrees. As for rotate Z, we need here to insert 0 degrees. And for smooth effect, use transition, write transform with duration 0.5 seconds. Alright, let's hover, and you see that we have here really awesome effect. And I hope you like it. Actually, I want to say again that this was not simple stuff. It's kind of advanced things from CSS. I try to explain, but if you still have any trouble in understanding it, then I recommend to rewatch the video, test things on your own, and also you can post your questions in QA section and we will try to help. Alright, that's it. See you in the next video.